A large portion of the United States is bracing for a nasty winter storm that'll last all the way through Thursday. This winter storm will bring a collection of concerns, including severe ice accumulation, snow, flooding rains, and a wild Arctic blast. In today's forecast, we'll be breaking down this winter storm in depth to give you an idea of if you're going to see any ice or snow accumulation. Over the next few days, this winter storm is going to cause havoc across the United States. So let's first begin with the setup for this event and how long it'll last here in the United States. First, beginning with the southern plains, which is where this event has begun, and it will continue there over the next few days. And this is all due to a southwesterly flow. It's essentially a jet stream where we have a high pressure system back up here to the north over the northern plains. Meanwhile, there will be low pressure systems developing over the next few days that'll continue to dump new precipitation to those in Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and even through Tennessee and Missouri. Those areas will have the potential for some ice accumulation, some sleet, and even maybe a few flurries as well over the next few days. Now, in correspondence with that big threat, there are a bunch of watches and warnings already in effect across a large chunk of the United States. It stretches across over almost a dozen states right now, including winter storm warnings, ice storm warnings, and a load of winter weather advisories. A little bit closer to where the main action will be, there are winter storm warnings in effect in those pink boxes as of right now. That is from a large chunk of Texas back through eastern Oklahoma, southern Missouri, and northern Arkansas. We also have ice storm warnings in effect for those in central Arkansas back through western sections of Tennessee and even northern Mississippi. So there is a chance for some ice accumulation here over the next few days. So beginning with this afternoon and evening, there is some freezing rain ongoing along with some sleet. So your freezing rain are those pink colors, purple colors is your sleet, which is all for the most part right now back up in northern sections of Arkansas and southern Missouri. As we go into the overnight hours tonight, precipitation will start to wind down across the southern plains with maybe some freezing drizzle still remaining, but it all picks up again going to tomorrow morning. We'll be watching very closely for the potential for some freezing rain to ramp right back up going into tomorrow morning. This will cause serious travel impacts. Not really going to be able to drive on those roadways tomorrow for a lot of you, especially back up in North Texas. Going throughout the entire day Tuesday, it looks like we'll be seeing for the most part just freezing rain. We probably will not transition to above freezing temperatures, so that will cause some issues there for those in North Texas, and that will obviously equivalent to a lot of ice for those across North Texas, Central Texas, and even back through West Texas. By Wednesday morning, this freezing rain will ramp up potentially even more than what it will be on Tuesday, so this will equivalent to a ton of ice accumulation when this is all said and done. So this event will be a multi-day event. It'll go all the way through Thursday morning, but the best days to see ice will be tomorrow and Wednesday. Going through the timing a bit more specifically for North Texas, there is a little bit of freezing rain or freezing drizzle just east of Interstate 35 right now. Tomorrow morning, this all begins to ramp up again, so right around 10, 11, 12 o'clock tomorrow, we'll be talking about at least some scattered freezing rain, which will equivalent to some ice. By tomorrow afternoon, we'll still be talking about at least some ice accumulation ongoing, so this will continue to just ramp up. But by Wednesday morning, this could get even more significant. We could be talking about widespread freezing rain. This could cause power outages, and possible traveling conditions are also possible. If you're traveling, take it very slow on the roadways either Tuesday or Wednesday or even tonight, because there's already ice out there right now. Now, when this event is all said and done, we are talking about some significant ice accumulation through Thursday morning. Some areas could be talking upwards of a half an inch to an inch of ice. That's not impossible. Now, I do think the European model goes a little bit overboard on these ice accumulation totals, but I do think it's going to be pretty close to at least a half an inch for a large chunk of North Texas. Back through Arkansas and as well as Tennessee, there is also a chance for upwards of a half an inch of ice going through Thursday morning as well as even maybe into the early afternoon hours. So this will also cause some travel impacts going into Thursday. Now, two different scenarios to look at, because I don't necessarily completely agree with the European model. I do think that this area will definitely see some ice accumulation through Thursday morning. That seems pretty likely at this point, but this is a bit of a question mark still, because I do think that this area will be slightly further to the east. So if we compare this to the HRR model, the HRR model shows it much further to the east in terms of the most significant ice accumulation. So I do think the HRR model is onto something a bit more here, where I do think the ice accumulation will be a bit more significant, a bit further to the east in comparison to, again, the European model. Now, I don't think there will be any major changes. I don't think this will definitely be the area that we see the most significant ice accumulation, but I do think this area will be slightly further to the east in terms of where we'll see very significant ice accumulation. Overall, there will be a lot of ice accumulation across a large chunk of Texas, but personally for me, I do think the most significant ice accumulation will probably be closer to the Metroplex than what the European model is showing. Now, obviously, this is all coming from an Arctic blast, so there will be much colder conditions. In terms of the wind chills this afternoon, crazy difference in Texas. It's 3 degrees up in the Panhandle for a wind chill. Go down to southern Texas where it's about 80 degrees for a feel-like temperature. That is really wild for this time of the year, but obviously it's a bit more common during the winter that we have some of these crazy contrasts in Texas. Going into tomorrow morning, wind chills will dive down even in South Texas into the 30s for the most part. Wind chills in the negatives back up in the Panhandle. Through Tuesday and Wednesday, this cold air will just continue. We will not feel above freezing in the DFW area probably for the next 3 to 4 days. So buckle up, have all your layers ready because it will be cold over the next few days. I've had some people asking, will there be any snow out of the system? Overall, it's going to be a very low chance. The only area that there might be some snow will be a very small corridor from about the North Texas area, so kind of in the Panhandle, for example, all the way back maybe through Kentucky and maybe even into the Ohio Valley. Low chance overall, not zero, but there might be a little coating to maybe up to an inch of 2 over the next few days. Make sure to hit the like button down below and subscribe if you've not already. This forecast is brought to you by Platinum Contracting.